At 11:47 p.m. on March 6, 2016, Terrence Campbell, age 34, was pulled over on Westbrook Avenue, outskirts of Glendale, Ohio. He was driving a 2008 Ford Focus, returning from his night shift at the warehouse where he worked as a floor supervisor. The patrol car behind him was a standard-issue Ford Explorer from the Glendale Police Department, operated by officers David Harrow and Ian Cross. The stop was logged as routine traffic violation. According to the digital record, Campbell complied immediately. He turned off the engine, kept both hands on the steering wheel, and waited. Harrow approached the driver's side. Cross stood behind, to the right. The dash recording began normally, capturing a brief, calm exchange, confirmation of license and registration, acknowledgement of the violation. Then, at timestamp 23:48:12, the footage displayed static. 47 seconds later, the camera resumed. Campbell was lying face down on the pavement, unresponsive. Paramedics were called at 23:52. He was pronounced dead at Mercy Health Fairfield Hospital at 00:23. The initial police report cited sudden cardiac arrest during restraint. Autopsy results, however, told another story. Forensic pathologist Dr. Malcolm Irwin determined the cause of death to be cardiac arrest induced by a rapid injection of potassium chloride delivered to the left carotid artery. The puncture mark was consistent with a medical syringe. Toxicology confirmed the concentration sufficient to stop the heart within 1 minute. The manner of death: homicide. Terrence Campbell had no criminal record. He was married, 2 children, Jacob aged 8 and Mia aged 5. Friends and co-workers described him as disciplined, quiet, cautious. Over the last 3 months, several co-workers noticed that he had become nervous about his commute, often delaying departure to avoid certain routes. GPS data from his phone showed he consistently avoided a direct 10-minute path through the neighboring suburb of Maple Grove, choosing a longer route instead. He had never explained the reason. At 9:20 the following morning, Detective Nora Kane from Internal Affairs was assigned to lead the inquiry. Kane, 36, had a record of investigating officer-involved misconduct. She initiated evidence collection from the patrol vehicle, body microphones, and police dispatch logs. Preliminary interviews were conducted separately with Harrow and Cross. Both maintained that Campbell grew agitated, made a quick motion toward his pocket, and ignored commands to stop. They stated that Harrow attempted to restrain him, after which Campbell collapsed suddenly. Neither officer admitted use of any chemical agent or physical strike beyond standard hand control. The dash recording contradicted these accounts. In the visible portion, Campbell appeared visibly anxious but compliant. His voice remained steady. No aggressive movement was apparent before the footage cut to static. After restoration attempts by the Digital Forensics Unit, analysts confirmed a deliberate deletion frame pattern consistent with manual interruption of the recording software. The data gap of 47 seconds coincided with the estimated time of injection. Detective Kane obtained a warrant to examine Campbell's mobile phone, recovered from the scene. The last outgoing message, sent at 23:07, 40 minutes before the stop, read, "If something happens, they know about Javier. Sorry for what I chose. Everything explained in the safe at home. Love you." The message was directed to his wife, Lisa Campbell. During formal questioning on March 7th, Lisa Campbell, 31, appeared distressed and exhausted. She reported that her husband had been terrified for weeks, often checking locks and monitoring their driveway at night. When asked about the message referencing Javier, she hesitated, then requested legal counsel. Her subsequent testimony was limited. She stated only that Terrence had recently met with someone about a case and had been advised not to involve her or the children. The question arose, who ordered the redirect, and why did Harrow's unit receive it? Dispatch logs showed the report originated from an anonymous call at 23:41:02. The caller's number was untraceable, routed through a prepaid device later found inactive. The description given: gray Ford with tinted windows circling twice. Matched Campbell's car exactly. By the 3rd day of investigation, Kane concluded that the event was not spontaneous. Campbell's message and the precision of the injection indicated planning. She described it internally as an execution masked as a medical emergency. At Campbell's residence in Middletown, detectives executed a search warrant. The apartment was orderly. Inside a small home office, behind a filing drawer, they found a locked fireproof safe. Lisa Campbell confirmed it belonged to her husband but refused to disclose the combination, citing her attorney's advice. The safe was seized under warrant authority. Detective Kane wrote in her evening summary, "Terrence Campbell predicted his own death. Reference to Javier and Choice suggests pre-existing knowledge of danger tied to law enforcement personnel. The safe is potentially key evidence." On March 9, 2016, Detective Nora Kane executed a warrant on the safe removed from the Campbell apartment in Middletown, Ohio. Inside were two items: a sheet with a cloud address, username, and password, dated December 4, 2015, and a printed instruction: "If I'm killed, show to Prosecutor Wolf." The safe inventory was logged. The access credentials were passed to the digital unit. Using department hardware, analysts entered the account and found one primary file dated December 7, 2015, plus a short text note listing location coordinates. The file contained dash-level audio and a fixed interior view from a parked car aimed across an empty lot behind a closed gas station off Route 27, Hamilton County. The recording showed 6 uniformed officers surrounding a teenager later identified as Javier Benavides, 17 student. Commands were audible. The youth raised his hands, emptied his pockets, and complied. The group struck him until he stopped moving. One officer retrieved a handgun from a police vehicle, placed it near Javier's hand and said, "Now you got a weapon, nigger. Try to complain. We'll say you shot first." Faces were visible and voices distinct. The sequence ended with the officers lifting the teen and clearing the area. The still frame reflected the interior of a 2008 Ford Focus. Registration confirmed Terrence Campbell as owner. His phone's GPS history placed him at the lot during the relevant minutes. Kane noted, "Campbell recorded the assault without being detected." The instruction in the safe directed the material to District Attorney Theodore Wolf, 51. On March 10, Wolf acknowledged in an interview that Campbell had visited his Cincinnati office on December 10, 2015. Wolf stated Campbell provided the video, requested anonymity for his family, and asked for action against the officers. Wolf told Kane he had said, "You'll have protection. We'll initiate review. No witness protection paperwork, case number, or formal referral appeared in the office system." Wolf called the matter preliminary and denied sharing Campbell's identity with police. Kane isolated 2 faces from the file and ran them against Glendale personnel images. Matches returned. Officer David Harrow, white, 43, 15 years on the force, and Officer Ian Cross, Latino, 23, 6 months on the force. Both were on duty during the Route 27 incident, and were the same officers involved in Campbell's stop 3 months later. A third figure's face was partially obscured. Uniform patches matched Glendale assignments. Dispatch summaries for the assault night listed a disturbance near the lot, with 5 officers tied to that call. By lineup comparison, one expected name was absent from those summaries, indicating altered documentation. Kane re-interviewed Harrow and Cross separately. Harrow denied any knowledge of the Route 27 video despite visible identification, and repeated that Campbell had shown sudden aggression before collapsing. Cross gave a similar account during the first session. After presentation of the autopsy conclusion, cardiac arrest following potassium chloride injection to the left carotid, Cross accepted a second session on March 12 and changed his statement. Cross said that at the start of the March 6 shift, he opened the passenger door of the assigned patrol SUV and found a disposable syringe with a capped needle and a folded note on the seat. The note read, "If Campbell becomes a problem, inject in neck." Cross reported he showed both to Harrow. According to Cross, Harrow replied, "My backup, forgot I left it," and moved the syringe into the center console. Cross did not log the find. Cross described the events that followed. At 11:41 p.m., a call redirected their unit to Westbrook Avenue to check a gray Ford that had circled the block. 6 minutes later, they encountered a gray 2008 Ford Focus and initiated a stop. The driver looked at Harrow and froze. Breathing became rapid. Hands remained on the wheel. Harrow said. Sedative, quickly. Cross stated he took the syringe from the console and injected into the driver's left neck. The driver lost consciousness roughly a minute later. Harrow then ordered camera systems off, called for medical response, and said, "We'll document resistance." "I take responsibility." Harrow denied Cross's account, denied any syringe, and denied issuing orders beyond standard commands. Forensic analysis addressed physical feasibility. The puncture location and angle supported an injector reaching from the passenger side across a seated driver's left neck. No usable DNA was recovered from the needle. The stop itself, the gap in the recording, and the autopsy remained consistent with rapid pharmacological induction. Kane then traced the 11:41 p.m. redirect. The initiating call came from a prepaid device that disconnected immediately after use. The description given matched Campbell's car in color and model. No alternate unit was dispatched. Harrow and Cross were sent directly. The timing placed the redirection 5 minutes before initial contact. To test the claim that the syringe was planted, Kane obtained recordings from the station lot. At 9:10 p.m., approximately 50 minutes before Harrow and Cross clocked in, a person in a Glendale police uniform approached Harrow's assigned vehicle, opened the passenger door with keys, leaned inside, and exited after roughly 18 seconds. Face was in shadow. Height estimated around 178 centimeters. Movement suggested familiarity with the vehicle. There were no signs of forced entry. No one reported missing keys. The door log showed a deletion window during that hour. The deletion timestamp matched the minute Campbell's phone made its final network handshake before the stop. Kane verified all personnel seen on site between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. No officer matched the figure's build and timing. The uniform in the recording carried correct patches and badge shape, not a novelty copy. There was no visitor entry that could explain lawful access. By late March 2016, internal affairs pressure shifted toward the prosecutor's office. During a formal interview on March 27, Lisa Campbell, under threat of obstruction charges, admitted signing a document for District Attorney Theodore Wolfe 2 months before her husband's death. The document, labeled Controlled Threat Authorization, allowed the creation of third-party risk situations to enhance the credibility of witness protection requests. Wolfe's signature confirmed he had drafted it. Lisa stated that she had signed it at his request, believing it was a standard security procedure. The file authorized Wolfe's staff to fabricate external pressure on Terrence Campbell in order to strengthen the case against the accused officers. When questioned, Wolfe denied abuse of authority and claimed the arrangement was a routine witness stability protocol. Kane found no precedent for such authorization in state records. Audio analysis of the anonymous 911 call that redirected Harrow and Cross was completed April 2nd. The call's waveform matched the voice of Assistant District Attorney Sebastian Grayson, 29, a junior prosecutor and Wolfe's subordinate. Grayson, confronted with the evidence, surrendered immediately and requested counsel. He confessed that Wolfe had ordered him to initiate a contact between witness and accused officers to test reliability under stress. Grayson said he used a prepaid phone, described Campbell's car, and triggered a racial context to guarantee the call would be prioritized. Financial records showed a $15,000 transfer to Grayson's account 3 days before the stop, sent from a consulting firm later linked to one of Wolfe's campaign donors. Grayson claimed he believed the payment was a performance bonus. His written statement read, "I followed direction. The goal was controlled pressure, not death." Kane reconstructed the day preceding the killing. According to time clock logs, Terrence left the warehouse on March 5th at 3 p.m. and returned around 5:05 p.m. He told colleagues he had a personal matter. Cell site data placed his phone near Tri-County Mall in Springdale. Surveillance footage confirmed he parked and met a Latino man in the lot near the west entrance. The man wore a dark suit and had a visible scar through his right eyebrow. They spoke beside the car for about 7 minutes. The man showed something on his phone. Terrence placed both hands on his head and stepped back. The man left in a black Cadillac CTS. Terrence remained in his car for 20 minutes, hands over his face. Vehicle registration traced the Cadillac to Diego Benavides, 47, resident of Sharonville, owner of 3 car wash businesses. Financial crimes records already listed Benavides for suspected money laundering connected to the Sinaloa cartel. The surname drew attention. Javier Benavides was the teenager from the December assault video. Kane verified through school and hospital files that Javier had survived the beating but suffered a concussion and partial hearing loss. When the video leaked online in January 2016, it spread rapidly across social platforms and national outlets. Javier became a symbol in public debate, leading to harassment at school. In February, he was found deceased at home, death by hanging. A handwritten note read, "I didn't want to be a symbol. I just wanted to live." The autopsy confirmed suicide. Detective Kane concluded that Diego Benavides blamed Terrence for recording and releasing the footage that led to his brother's exposure. Statements from acquaintances describe Diego as controlled and deliberate, capable of intimidation without direct confrontation. Bank analysis revealed a secondary connection. Over the previous 8 months, Officer Harrow had received bi-weekly transfers between $5,000 and $7,000 from a business account tied to Benavides's car wash chain. The payments coincided with inspection periods when Harrow was assigned to narcotics monitoring in the same district. Interviews with department staff suggested he had ignored suspicious transactions involving Benavides' properties. Investigators also obtained Harrow's private financial records. When his daughter Lily was diagnosed with leukemia the previous year, treatment costs exceeded $800,000. Medical statements confirmed an unpaid balance of $612,000 at the time of Campbell's death. Diego had offered help through business consulting payments. The arrangement provided motive and leverage. On April 12, Kane presented these findings to Lisa Campbell and requested her cooperation in clarifying her husband's final hours. Initially silent, Lisa eventually asked to see the December video. After viewing it, she admitted that on the evening before his death, Terrence had told her he had been contacted again by Diego Benavides. According to her account, Diego had shown him a live stream from a phone. Jacob, their 8-year-old son, visible on the school playground. A man sat beside the child on a bench, hand resting on the boy's shoulder. Diego's voice, audible through the phone, said, "Call the prosecutor. Say you made it up, or in 5 minutes my man takes your son. You'll get his body in pieces." Lisa stated that Terrence screamed at the screen, "You're bluffing," to which Diego replied, "Deadline tomorrow, 9 a.m. Terrence hung up, immediately called Lisa and shouted, "Run to school! Get Jacob now!" Lisa drove to the school, found Jacob unharmed, but the man seen in the stream had vanished. That night, Lisa begged her husband to withdraw his cooperation with Wolf. She described him sitting on the edge of the bed, saying quietly, "If I back down, 6 cops walk free and do this again to other kids. Diego's bluffing. Let him kill me, not Jacob Lisa." Confirmed he left for work early the next morning after dropping Jacob with her parents in Warren County for safety. Kane summarized in her notes, Campbell aware of mortal risk. Protective instinct redirected. Chose self-endangerment to preserve testimony. Motivational boundary between duty and self-sacrifice unclear. At 11:47 p.m. that night, the stop occurred. The trial began in October 2016 and lasted 11 months. The proceedings combined federal civil rights violations with state homicide charges. The prosecution presented the December video of Javier Benavides, the forensic report on Terrence Campbell's death, and the testimony of Officer Ian Cross, who entered a plea agreement for reduced sentencing. Cross repeated his admission. He had injected Campbell on Harrow's command, believing it was a sedative. Officer David Harrow faced charges of second-degree murder, obstruction, and falsification of evidence. The court accepted evidence of the prior payments from Diego Benavides' companies, but ruled the financial link insufficient to prove conspiracy beyond reasonable doubt. Harrow was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 15 years. His appeal was denied. In July 2017, 8 months after sentencing, his daughter Lily died of leukemia. She was 7 years old. The other 5 officers from the Route 27 assault each received lesser penalties: administrative suspensions, short custodial terms, or acquittals based on procedural defects. The judicial reasoning cited incomplete chain of custody documentation and technical uncertainty, regarding which officer had delivered the final blows to Javier Benavides. District Attorney Theodore Wolfe resigned from office 2 months after Harrow's conviction. Within a year, he had founded a private defense firm in Cincinnati, specializing in political risk management and corporate litigation. Tax filings later listed annual earnings exceeding $600,000. The same year, Assistant District Attorney Sebastian Grayson received a suspended sentence for perjury and evidence tampering. Diego Benavides vanished during the final phase of the trial. U.S. Marshals confirmed he crossed into Sinaloa, Mexico, in February 2017. Mexican authorities did not locate him. Interpol circulation marked him as wanted for questioning, not extraditable. No further trace appeared in financial systems after mid-2017. By verdict's end, the official narrative was closed. 1 officer imprisoned, 1 dead witness, and an absent suspect abroad. Internal Affairs issued a final report stating, "The system operated within its limits." Detective Nora Kane's closing memo summarized the imbalance plainly. Accountability partial. Structural cause unchanged. 2 years later, in April 2018, the remaining family lived quietly in Middletown. Lisa Campbell worked part-time in a grocery store. Jacob, 10, and Mia, 5, attended public school. On the anniversary of Terrence's death, they visited the cemetery. After returning home that evening, Jacob went to his father's old room, now used for storage. Inside a desk drawer, he found a sealed envelope labeled, "To Jacob, open if I'm gone." He opened it carefully. The letter inside was written in Terrence's handwriting. "Son, if you're reading this, I'm dead. Diego Benavides gave me a choice. Life as a traitor, or death with principles. I chose death out of pride and fear. I couldn't imagine looking in your eyes if I backed down. It was selfishness, not sacrifice. Forgive me. I leave you the choice they gave me." Beneath the letter was another smaller envelope labeled, "Open when you turn 18 or when ready to finish what I started." Jacob sat on the floor holding it for several minutes. Then, against the instruction, he opened it. Inside were printed photographs, one showing a house with high concrete walls in Culiacan, Sinaloa. Another showing a man with a scar through his eyebrow. Diego Benavides. On the back of the photo, Terrence had written by hand, "Private investigator located his residence. Address confirmed. Schedule and security details included. Choice is yours, revenge or forgiveness. Choose wiser than I did." Also inside were a folded map of Sinaloa with the house circled in red ink, a printed schedule noting times the target was usually alone, and a basic layout of the compound's perimeter. Jacob laid everything out on the bed, studying it in silence. From the kitchen came his mother's voice. "Jacob, dinner's ready." He quickly gathered the materials, slid them under the mattress, and went downstairs. At the table, Mia talked about school activities. Lisa asked, "How's your day?" Jacob answered, "Fine." His expression was neutral, but Lisa noticed a rigidity unfamiliar for a child. After dinner, Jacob returned to the room. He retrieved the photograph from under the mattress and stared at Diego's face. He turned it over and read the address again. Taking a clean sheet of notebook paper, he copied the address in uneven handwriting. He replaced the photo and map beneath the mattress, folded the copied address, and put it in his jeans pocket. He lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, one hand gripping the folded paper. His breathing was steady, his face composed. The gesture carried no visible emotion, only focus. The meaning of his father's letter, "I leave you the choice," had already begun to transform into direction. The next morning, the folded page remained in his pocket as he left for school. Lisa did not notice. To her, he looked tired from the previous day. To him, the document was both secret and task. 3 streets away, the cemetery held another small grave. Lily Harrow, 2010 to 2017. The flowers had withered. No visitors were recorded in the caretaker's log since the previous year. 2 children from different families, both drawn into a chain of adult decisions, rested, or waited within the same few hundred meters.